Yo, it's Boštjan from BossLifehacks.com, and I'm here in Sofia, Bulgaria after about a year and a half. It feels amazing to be here, and just for the fuck of it I wanted to do the deja vu shot with the same church behind me. Today I have a really cool topic for you, okay, and it's how to have a difficult conversation, right? Maybe it's asking for a raise at work, maybe it's breaking a relationship, maybe it's defying your parents, you know, all these difficult conversations that you know you have to do and how to kind of make them a little easier. Right now, the first thing I'd like to stress is, if you know there's something super important coming on, like, think it through, right? I made another cool video, I think in Austin, Texas. It's called How to Make a Tough Decision. I would highly recommend you to check that one out first. And then once, you know, you set up your mind, then after that, these steps will surely help you. Okay, just so we're able to relate a little bit better, I'll give two personal examples and then we'll go on more common ones, right? Like, two really difficult conversations I had in the past. One was when I was about, I don't know, 18, 19. It was my first longer relationship, you know, and, you know, it had to end, right? And that sucked, like, that really sucked. I was preparing for weeks. And like when I told that girl, like, I was like crying and shit, it sucked a lot, right? It was really difficult for me and her, right? And then the next one was when I was asking for a raise, right? I was at a job, you know, I needed more money, and I was in a position to get it, you know, like maybe I could even ask earlier or whatever. But again, it's this sort of difficult conversation. You don't know exactly how to frame it, you're nervous, like you don't sleep so well, like there's a lot of pressure connected to this, right? Now an example that you know, we all can relate to is when you have something important that you want to do and like your parents don't agree, right? For a lot of people that's maybe moving abroad, that's maybe, you know, having a job that, you know, their parents won't like, or like your friends or your spouse, you know, whatever, right? So it's this sort of like difficult conversation that you know, you truly know that you want to go on and do that step, but you know it's gonna kind of hurt the other party, or maybe, you know, they won't understand you, or maybe you're feeling that, you know, you might get rejected, or they might not like you after that anymore. Okay, there's a lot of different things, right? So let's take the example with the, you know, traveling abroad or moving abroad for a second, right? You know that you want to do it, you know that it's the right step for you to do, but when you tell this to your parents, in their mind they're gonna think, oh, he's abandoning us, he doesn't like us anymore, are we not good parents enough for him to want to stay home, or her, right? There's a lot of these different sort of lenses that people have, right? So a really cool book I read, I forgot the title actually, but inside there was something called the error of communication, right? And what this means is that when you present something to somebody, it means that both of you will look at it with different sort of lenses, right? So even though that you know that this is like the right thing for you to do and you need to do it, like the other person might not see it like that. They will project their own things, their own personal point of view on it, and thus, you know, feel different sorts of stuff around it. Like with the traveling stuff or with the living abroad stuff, you know, they might feel guilt, regret, sadness, you know, whereas you feel excitement, passion, purpose, right? Completely different, right? So error of communication, so have that in mind. Alright, so now we covered that you really want to, you know, have that difficult conversation, and we covered that, you know, it's important how you present it because, you know, we want to avoid the error of communication. There's a few steps that you can take to drastically reduce those odds and to make it kind of easier to talk, you know, both emotionally, everything, you know, for you and for the other party, right? Step number one would be to prepare your arguments carefully, okay? So it means that you really gotta think it through, right? Like maybe if you watch the other video how to make a tough decision, maybe you put some things on the paper, maybe you checked your options, maybe you did like a time projection to see the potential results, etc., right? You need to have very clear arguments, okay? If you're asking your boss for a raise, you need to have sick arguments. You need to be like, okay, I produce this and this much of, you know, investment, you know, I'm doing this and this much work compared to all the rest, you know, I think I deserve this and this because then I could do even more. Like, your arguments need to be rock solid. There needs to be no doubt at all, right? They need to be really solid. The more of them that you can have and the more solid they are, and the more you kind of rehearse them, like you can't like forget them, because you're gonna know you will be stressed, right? You'll be like nervous, you'll be like sweaty. So you need to make sure you know those arguments really well, because when the time comes, you'll be under pressure, right? So if you haven't rehearsed that, if you haven't, you know, really thought it through for a few days before, at least you will forget them, right? So make sure you know your arguments. Alright, the next step is pick a proper time and place, okay? And here being empathetic is key. I hope I use this term correct now. You need to know that the person who you're talking to, they have their own life, okay? And even though you're stressing about this situation and conversation a lot, like they might not think about it at that exact moment, right? So let's say that you wanna ask for a raise at work, right? And your boss is having a shit day, and you just out of nowhere, you're like, oh hey, I want to rate, like it won't be received well, right? The same is true for, like, I don't know, maybe you want to end the relationship. I'm not advocating, yeah, everybody should do it, but if you do, like, wait, you know, if your partner has like an important event coming in a few days, I don't know, changing schools or like, I don't know what, like it might be better to tell them after that, right? I mean, again, don't wait for weeks and months, but I'm just saying that it's, you know, there's a proper time and place. Again, if you want to talk to your parents about something, you know, disturbing, again, maybe if they come from work all pissed off and tired, like it's not the right place, right? So make sure the time and place is correct. How to do that? Kinda ensure that the place is like not too loud, you know, not some super busy cafe. If it's at work or somewhere, it's better that it's kind of private, so it's just you and the other person, or several of them if you want to talk to more, like, because every other person that kind of hears this conversation will add pressure. And then the place again should be quiet, you know. Alright, the next thing is you want to make sure that the person who you're talking to knows that it's like it's your decision and it's based on you, not on them. That's especially important if it's like more of a interpersonal sort of thing, you know, maybe like, you know, talking to your parents, your partner or whatever. You need to make sure that they know that it's not something they did wrong, you know. Maybe if you're moving somewhere, right? Like, I have a good friend who just left the country Slovenia and moved somewhere far, far away, right? For I don't know how long. Must have been hard, right? I'm guessing. But when you have something like that happening, you need to know the other person, you need to know the other person that you need to let the other person know, there we go, third time's the charm, that it's not them, you know. It's because people will always think this. They'll be like, oh, is it my fault that you're going? Did I do something wrong? Did I not love you? Like, no, like it's none of that. It's just that like you need to do that thing, right? And if you just acknowledge that, if you just tell them, look, you've been amazing, we'll still stay in touch, we have Skype, it's been amazing, thank you for everything, but it's just something that I have to do, you know, they will just take it way better, and you know, there'll be way less guilt and like weird emotions on both sides, right? Okay, this point kinda connects to the previous one. I was already starting to go into it. Show appreciation and love. It means that no matter what happens, even if you're like, you know, breaking something, even if you don't plan to see the other person anymore, you know, maybe you're leaving the company, you know, you decided to quit the job, like it's a difficult conversation as well, right? You need to still show appreciation and love. It's never good to end anything on a bad note, because then you'll have like hate, like all these like bad negative emotions that will eat through you, you know, like you'll be sleeping and like you'll be thinking about this shit, and it's gonna be the same for the other person as well, right? So even if the situation is pretty bad, like you still wanna end it with showing appreciation and love, okay? Reflect on the good memories, reflect on the good things that happen, and try to put that into the front, right? And then the whole ending thing or whatever, it's gonna be much more smooth, and you both people will be better off, right? Alright, and the fifth point and the last one here is don't back off, right? So it means that, you know, like you took your time to make this decision, right? And it was not an easy one, you know, you put in all this work, now stick with that decision. What you have to know is that like a lot of emotions can arise, right? When you have this difficult conversation with the person you care about, or maybe somebody of importance, a boss, a sponsor, or something like that, it might be very high pressure, okay? And you might be be tempted to change your mind or to, you know, back off, to, you know, like have a different decisions. Don't do that. Stick with your plan, right? That's why you spent all that time developing it, rehearsing arguments, making sure the person is okay, etc., etc., right? So stick with it. Cool, now the sun went down again. We had some little technical complicalities, if that's a new word for you, complicalities, it's an amazing word. A little bit of a wrap up. Again, when you're having a difficult conversation, first of all, be very sure that you want to have it. There's a good video I made on this topic. It's how to have a tough decision, right? After you decide that yes, you do want to have that conversation, first of all, have in mind that there's a thing called the error of communication, right? Other people might see the thing you're trying to present to them with different lens, from a different viewpoint. So have that in mind. And then there's like a very neat 5-step process that I gave you that will make the whole process easier for both you and the other party. Step number 1 is prepare really good, solid arguments. Step number 2 is that you have to pick a very calm place, a safe place, and you have to have in mind the best interest of the person you're talking to, so make sure they're not too tired, too stressed, right? Find a safe, calm place where you can talk about this. Step 3 is explain to them that their role might not be as big as they think, you know, like it's not that if you're talking to your parents that they didn't love you, you know, enough, so you're leaving them, but it's like you need to do this for yourself, right? Then step number 4 is show love and appreciation, right? It's always better to end things on a positive note, like just a general attitude that will bring you a lot more happiness in life. And then step number 5, don't back off. If you decide that you want to do this, then fucking do it, right? Don't back off, you know? A lot of emotions can arise, but make sure you stick to your decision. Alright, once again, this was Boštjan from BossLifehacks.com. I'm here in beautiful Sofia, Bulgaria, the Deja Vu Church. If you remind, one of my first videos I did was actually here a year and a half ago. It's the Alexander Nevsky Church, super amazing, majestic building. Let me know what you think about this topic, about difficult conversations. What's one of them that you had recently or that you still vividly remember? I'd love to hear from you. I'd love you to share this with me. And yeah, as always, take care, keep on enjoying it, drop some comments and enjoy your day. Peace out. Done!